So, I'm going to jump right into a topic today about something called love bombing. And I just did a podcast on this 3 days ago. It's up on Apple. If you don't know about my podcast, it's called the Billy Sidios Podcast. It's on Apple and it's on Spotify and a couple of other platforms I'm not sure about, but they're out there. What is love bombing? Love bombing is a form of manipulation to garner control and to take dominance over another individual. It's a manipulative tactic, and oftentimes it goes under the radar or it's misunderstood for love. That's why they call it love bombing, okay? And it is a bomb, trust me. If you've never experienced love bombing, then you're not gonna relate to this video, to this message I'm sharing today, but it will give you knowledge and understanding and insight to see if maybe somebody you know has been love bombed or they have been coerced into a relationship and then perhaps into marriage even, okay? This is something very common. It's very, very common. And love bombing doesn't just happen in romantic relationships or marriage. It can also happen in friendships. It can happen with peers. Maybe this can happen anywhere. All right. So what does this look like? One of the main things is intensity. Really, really intense in the beginning. When you start talking to somebody, they're just really over the top. It seems like they're just like, oh my gosh, like you're like, I've never met anybody like you. You're incredible. Like, how did I not meet you before? Oh my goodness. And then the next thing is going to be the whole, I think we're soulmates. I've just never connected with anyone like this before. And they're going to just make you feel like, wow, like, okay. And maybe you're going to start playing it out and going along with it because you're just like taken back by how much this person's connected to you. And that's the whole point of this part of it. This one tactic they use in the beginning, one of the first signs, is intensity. And this is all to create a false intimacy with you. Okay? They're trying to make you believe you have something really special in this connection. And the warning about this, the warning sign is that you've just started talking to them. Maybe you've only known them for a week, maybe even hours. There's situations where it can happen within hours. Okay. You know, sometimes when you're getting to know somebody, it's the fun stage, right? You're spending hours talking on the phone. But if they're constantly referring to this strong connection they feel with you, that they feel like you're soulmates or you're the one that they've been looking for that soon, that, my friend, that is a warning sign. That's not normal, okay? This goes for not just, you know, the women being a victim of something like this happening. It goes for men as well. It happens to men all the time, okay? So that's one of the first ones. And I want to interject here and say this, and this is all hindsight for me and what I've learned, and this is why I share what I share, because I didn't have someone to talk to. Nobody was telling me these things, and I was not aware. And on social media where, you know, there's lots of discussion now around manipulation, coercive control, and, you know, narcissistic abuse, all of these different things. It wasn't really, really out there a lot. And so now that I've learned and I've been through it, I can understand and speak to it. This could be very, very validating for somebody who never got love or compassion or caring or physical touch or a lot of different things, neglect, that had experienced abandonment as a child. If you experience those things growing up, or should I say didn't experience those things like love and closeness and protection, this stage of the love bombing is going to sweep you off your feet. It's almost like, I want to call it the Prince Charming metaphor or the Prince Charming tactic, because if you're like me, you're Gen X, okay? You're older. And you grew up with Snow White, Cinderella, the story of all these princesses in the Disney movies. There's sometimes this misconception that you grow up thinking this is what love is, that this man is just, going to come into your life and sweep you off your feet and romance you and love you, and everything is just going to have a happily ever after. We realized as we get older, and keep in mind, people didn't talk about the stuff they talk about today. So we didn't know, we didn't understand. We were a bit naive, you could say 40 years ago. We were naive in our dating and selection processes, right? We didn't have the knowledge we have today. So in saying that, you could be very susceptible to this. For someone to come into your life, and especially if they are attractive to you, and they're just dumping all of this on you, all this attention and this intensity, and telling you how much they feel so connected to you, you are more susceptible to this. You are going to love this. You're going to soak it up like a sponge, because you don't really realize what's going on behind the scenes. You don't really understand what this person's motives are for doing this. And let me tell you, when I say person, I'm talking about people that are either highly narcissistic, or some other type of issue that they've had. Maybe they come from lots of trauma, but they are very toxic. Maybe they're unhealed. If you want to get into attachment styles, maybe they are an avoidant, right? These are all different things that you could be dealing with, right? These are things that they learn to do at a very young age. They learn to manipulate to get what they want. They know what works, and they know what you want to hear and what makes people feel good and what pulls them in. And this is not to say that you're not beautiful, that you're not gorgeous, that you are not an amazing person. This is why it's good to know your identity too, and know your worth, right? Because when you know your worth, you can't be sucked in by these types of people, because you know what? You're going to say to them, yeah, okay, tell me something I don't know. I already know I'm beautiful. I know that, I have charisma. I know that I'm smart. I know that I'm a great cook. I know that I have, all these different things that they're telling you. You'll be like, yeah, okay, I know all of this, but tell me something else about myself. Talk to me about my heart. Talk to me about my soul, right? These people don't do that. They focus on what they think you need to hear, right? And one of the other tactics that sets you up for love bombing is oversharing, okay? And so what you're oversharing with them, you're getting to know them. The first thing they're going to do is they're going to share so many intimate details with you in the beginning, things that people wouldn't normally share with someone they don't know. But they are very intuitive. Manipulators are very intuitive. They can read you like a book. If you're apologizing a lot, if you're like, oh my God, I'm sorry, or, oh, it's okay, it's no problem. If you're a people pleaser, they can smell that on you than someone who's not like that, right? And so this is what happens is they begin to prey on that. They're going to know, oh, she went through this as a child. Oh, her parents didn't love her. They neglected her, or her last boyfriend or her ex-husband was really cruel to her and did all these things. Okay, I'm going to start testing, see what I can get away with, right? If you were neglected, if you have that childhood trauma of neglect, abandonment, and you got no attention, no love, nothing like that, you are, I'm afraid, more susceptible to being manipulated. Okay? So this is why the inner work is so important. This is why it's so, so important that we are healing, that we're doing the work, so that we don't get caught into these traps. Because once you're in it, let me tell you, it just spirals from there, from the love bombing. Then you're going to get into all the other stuff, which I'll talk about another time. Another thing is constant attention. Constant. Your phone is blowing up constantly, whether you're at home, whether you're at work. This person is blowing you up, okay? And because you're nice, and because you don't want to offend anybody, and they know this about you already, they're going to keep doing it. When you're spending time with these people, let me tell you, They're collecting data. They're watching even your body language. They're watching the words. They're listening to what's coming out of your mouth. Many times, and I was one of them, we have no boundaries. I mean, I didn't even really know what boundaries were till like 5-6 years ago. When I started my healing journey, I started realizing, wow, like I got to get some boundaries here, right? And then before I had time to do that, I got into something else, right? So it's so important that we learn about boundaries, how to set them, and how to hold them, especially when you are dating and you're getting to know people. Also, I tell people you need to have at least 5 core values. So that, for example, could be your belief system. What do you believe in? You know, are you a Christian? You know, do you just believe in a higher power? You know, but what are your values attached to? What is it that you believe and what do you stand by, right? Because one good warning sign is that if you're being manipulated and you're with someone who could be potentially abusive, is that when you set boundaries, they break them. When you tell them no, it's actually a challenge to them. It sets them up to start challenging you. Okay, so if you have a boundary of not calling you at a certain time of night because you're in bed and you have a routine because you like to take care of yourself, they're going to do it anyways. They're going to start texting you past that time. They're going to be trying to even call you, leaving voicemails all night long, trying to get a hold of you. They don't respect your space. And if you put boundaries, they're going to show you that they're going to break them. They're going to test you. Now, this all goes on in the first, I'm going to say probably the first, it starts the first month up to 6 months, 8 months until the mask really starts to drop. So this, between the beginning, the very beginning, you have to be sharp. You have to be focused and watch these signs and look for them and don't ignore them. You know, like I said earlier, it's not that you are not a beautiful person inside and out. It's not that you don't have amazing qualities. It's not that this person doesn't see your worth. With a manipulator, though, they're seeing it and looking for it to use it against you, not to build something with you. So this is why it's so important you understand these terms like love bombing. This is why I'm sharing. This is why I'm getting it out there and it's on my podcast, because I want to be the person I needed. It isn't just people that have suffered trauma. It could be anybody. It could be someone that didn't suffer a lot of trauma. They just, because let's be honest, who doesn't want to be loved? Who doesn't want to have all this attention on them and to feel lovable and to feel appreciated? Who doesn't want to feel that? Man or woman, we all want that. We're created for this, right? So when someone comes in and it's really, really heavy, anybody could be a victim. Anyone could fall into this trap, okay? Okay, so physical intimacy, right, is they're going to really push for that quickly. And I'm going to tell you why. There is a reason why they do that. And not a lot of people talk about this, and I'll go in more depth in another series, in another video I do. But when you are physically intimate with somebody, you are exchanging souls. You're exchanging everything that is in that person, everyone they've ever slept with, all their trauma, all that stuff, because physical intimacy is not just physical. It is also spiritual, and you're connecting that together. And what happens is you're creating now you're creating with them an even stronger bond. And if there's physical intimacy involved, you have now attached yourself to that person spiritually. And that, my friends, is very, very strong. That is a road you don't want to go down, okay? Because they now have you in that trap. They've gone and taken you through the love bombing stages. They've hooked you. You're hooked. You're in it. And unfortunately, The only way out is through the pit and through the mud. And it's a dark place, people. It is a dark, dark place. And if you can get the awareness and you can understand and do the things you have to do, like set boundaries, go back and do some healing. If you are traumatized from your childhood or other relationships, you need to do the work. You need to find your self-worth. You need to love yourself. You need to set boundaries. All the things that are going to help prevent you falling into one of these traps with these people. So anyway, I'm going to conclude that today. I hope that you got something out of this. If you did, leave a comment below and let me know what else you'd like to hear. What else? Is there anything else? Do you have any questions about love bombing? Is there anything else you'd like to ask me? Feel free to put your questions in the comments. Okay? Thank you and God bless.